In this video, I want to show you how to get 100 leads a month using meta ads for your service business in 2026. Now, a lot of you may have tried Facebook ads in the past and it didn't work. Maybe you tried running something from another YouTube video you saw. Maybe you had a friend help you out. But the fact is that if you don't follow the step-by-step strategy that I'm going to share with you in this video, then it's going to be difficult for you to actually get to those 100 leads a month. Now, this is for you if you run a service business. You could be an accountant, a real estate agent, a builder, an agency, a coaching business, whatever the case may be. If you run a service business, this is for you. Now, we've worked with over 800 clients over the past 7 years, establish their meta ads funnel. And so in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what is working right now in 2026. So with that in mind, let's jump into the content. Okay, so the first thing as it relates to getting those 100 leads on Meta is going to be your offer. Now, when I say your offer, and you see it on the iPad screen here, it's not necessarily, $100 million offer with Alex Hormozi. It's whether you're offering either a free consult for something or a paid consult for something for a discount or a lead magnet. Now, if you want to hit the top 3% of people that are buying right now in the market, you want to offer them what's called a direct offer. Now, the direct offer is something like a free consult or a paid consult, and you can even name it something a little bit more interesting like a financial breakthrough session or whatever the case may be. Whatever it is, the problem that you're solving, that's what you want to call the direct offer. Now, the indirect offer is a lead magnet, which is where you basically put that information that you'll probably give them in that session and put it into a PDF download or a YouTube video or a video that they can watch. Now, the difference between the strategy here is the direct offer is you're going to get people who are ready to buy it now. And so this is what you want to do if you want to get more sales. Now, I'll be honest, I mostly run direct offers. I haven't run a lead magnet for a while, although lead magnets do work. Now, if you want to hit the 97% of the market, which are not necessarily in buying mode, you want to use a lead magnet. Now, I'm not going to go down the path of how to structure a lead magnet well, but what I want to say is that the reason that you would want a lead magnet is it allows you to get their information. It gets them into your marketing ecosystem so you can market to them again and again and again for free using email. And so that is why you'd want to do a lead magnet in that case. So that's the first thing is you want to decide whether you want to do a direct offer versus a indirect offer. Now that's the first thing. Now, once you've decided on that, the next thing is figuring out your creatives. Now, the creatives are vastly different to what has been done before on Facebook. Now, there was a video I was watching recently with a guy called John Loomer, I think is his name. And in that video, he talked about the fact that 7 years ago in 2019, 2018, when Facebook was kind of on the up and people had really started to master how to use the system, that the protocol at that point was to focus more on the targeting and interests of the campaign. Now, post Andromeda. Now, Andromeda is the updated algorithm, which is essentially where it requires advertisers to have a greater level of creative availability. So lots of images and videos available that Facebook can show relevant users. Now, the reason they do this is because there's so much creative volume out there and there's so much optionality. And also there's so much volume of creative coming into Facebook's system that they needed to update the whole system so that they were able to show relevant images and videos to relevant people. And so the way that you structure the creative is different. The old way is you would have literally just one or two images, right? One or two. And it was really a very simple proposition of what the offer is. And you would actually win the game, not so much from the fact that you ran a really good ad, but from the fact that you had really good targeting. Now, the new way is you have to have really good ads. So the things that you would typically get when you structure your marketing, you have to do as a baseline standard. And so the new way is you want to have 5 to 10 images and videos. Now, the reason that you want images and videos is Some users respond well to images, some users respond well to videos. And so the way that you want to go about doing the images and videos is very strategic. So you can't just have the same messaging for every client. You need to have a range of different, what I call angles. Okay, so this is kind of the third layer that you want to think about. Now, an angle could be something like this. Let's say you sell a service for somebody looking to get into shape, so weight loss. I always go back to weight loss because I used to be a personal trainer. So when it comes to weight loss, right, you've got different angles that you can take that talk about the problem and the solution and kind of the emotional complex of that person. So there's a concept, I always refer to this when I talk about marketing, which is called the core emotional complex. Now, the core emotional complex is kind of all of the emotions, all the thoughts, feelings, needs, wants, dreams that people have relating to your service and your product. So if you offer property investing, there's so much going on in there in a human that you can talk to. It could be generational wealth. It could be providing freedom for my family. It could be not having to work again. It could be retiring my parents. These are very strong emotional pulls. And that's why the property investing happens to be a very, very popular service in Australia, like for buyer's agents, because, and in other countries too, but property people view as a means to get freedom and to get financial freedom. So when it comes to weight loss, for instance, it could be attracting opposite sex. It could be health. You had a scare at the doctors, right? You had a scare at the doctors. It could also be, if it's not a scare at the doctors, it could be you had an injury, right? It could be you feel fat. You simply just feel fat. Okay, so there you can see on the screen is we have 4 different ways that we can explain our product. And now what that does is now we've come up with our angles. We then need to create the ad copy. Now the ad copy you can easily do on your own or using ChatGPT. I would actually probably use ChatGPT and some of your own. I like to do a couple on my own every time just so I can get a really good grasp of the concepts, but ChatGPT does work well, or Claude, whatever you use, Claude or Manus, ChatGPT. Now, the way I like to do the ad copy is this. The very first line, I like to introduce the problem and the audience. So it could be something like this. I remember this phone call that I took for a lead back in the day who was wanting to work with a gym, and what she said to me was really interesting. I have my son's wedding coming up and I don't want to look fat on my son's wedding day. So a really good way that you could start ad copy targeting that type of person is looking your best at important events is important. Okay? So what are we doing here? We're speaking directly to people who want to look important or who want to look their best at important events. Now, so what we're doing in that first line of the copy is 2 things. We're addressing the current situation and we're also calling out the audience. So who is the audience? People who want to look their best. The current situation, they've got a current event. So this is not a simple formula here. This is really nuanced, where you have to put together wording which really describes and quickly grabs that person's current situation. Now, the next part of the ad copy, we do what I call dig in the paint. And so this is where we go, the worst thing is having an event and relying on drastic measures to lose weight. Now that might be flagged in Facebook algorithm, lose weight. Probably not. I think it should be okay. But then the next thing is, so we've talked about digging into the pain, we're twisting the knife, digging into the pain. The next thing we want to do is offer a unique solution that is counterintuitive. So a counterintuitive, unique solution. The truth is, you don't need to go to drastic measures. You just need a plan, okay? And the plan could be a meal plan that's easy to make and whatever else. And so really those three parts, and then what we'd do is we'd talk about the plan, right? What is the plan? And then we'd go into our offer. Now the offer would include some urgency. And then the last thing is we'd have a call to action. Call to action is really important. Telling them what to do with the information that they've just consumed. So let's recap. So the first thing is calling out the audience, right? COA, and addressing the situation, AS. The second thing is digging into the pain. So digging into. The third thing is offering a counter. The third thing is offering a counter-intuitive solution. So something that flies in the face of what they think they need to do, but is actually easier and not that hard. Then we go into breaking down the solution, and then we go into the offer, and then we go into the call to action. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Now, the last thing, so let's just recap everything we've gone through here, guys. So we've gone through the offer, so whether it's a lead magnet or it's a direct offer. The next thing is the creative. So putting together 5 to 10 images and videos that are based on the different angles that you can use to explain your product. And then we've got the ad copy where we talk about the problem audience, we dig into the pain, we offer a counterintuitive solution. We then break down that solution. Then we have the offer with an element of urgency, and then we have the call to action. Now, the last piece is the economics, okay? So if we want to get 100 leads, we need to have the economics right. Now, for lead magnets, you can get leads for as low as $1. I would say, depending on the audience, it could be anywhere from $1 to $20. Now, for direct offers, which is an offer for a consultation, leads will be anywhere from 15 to 100, okay? Now, usually for most industries, you want it sitting at around 20 to 40. Now, I'll say for our business, we spend $40 to get a good lead, okay? Now, once you've got all that into play, you just need to spend enough money. So if you want to get 100 leads at, say, $20 a pop, then you need to spend $2,000 in ad spend per month. And so putting that all together, what I've found, and this is what a lot of people ask me on calls, is what's the conversion rate from leads to clients? I've found that a good conversion rate from leads to clients is around 3 to 10, maybe 3 to 14%. And so if you spend $2,000 and you convert, say, 7% of those leads, and that's 7 clients, and your offer is worth $2,000, you're spending $2,000 to make $14,000, which is an incredibly good return on ad spend. If that's the case, you need to be spending a lot of money into ads because you're literally multiplying $1 by $7. Obviously, you've got to factor in your costs, but even if you have a 50% margin on that, you're spending $1 to make $3.50, okay? So you want to be pushing as much revenue and income as you can into that ad system. Now, if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you want help putting together a system that can help you get clients, we can spend $1, get $4, $5, $6, $7 back. There'll be a link in the bio for you to have a chat, book in a time. And guys, thanks for watching. We'll speak to you soon. Cheers.